Manx Radio's 1 to 3, tended by Ramsey Garden Centre. Open 7 days a week.
Vivian Cornelius, a volunteer for Hospice.
And John Knight, I'm the Chief Executive of Hospice Isle of Man.
Viv, we will come to you first. You're here telling us about various events raising money for Hospice Isle of Man. Just before we get to that, how did you first get involved with Hospice?
It was an ongoing thing, Christy, really, because I've had the experience of Hospice on 5 occasions, both with my parents and my in-laws, and then Hospice at home with my brother. And I don't think anybody will ever be able to repay Hospice for the care, attention, love and concern that you get. So anything I can do for Hospice, I will do.
And when did you start fundraising for them and volunteering for them?
I started volunteering now just over 2 years ago. And I've been involved in various little things, projects that's been going on, of going out and doing bucket collections and that kind of thing. But then I had a big idea. I thought, I'm going to do something bigger than this. So,
Well, go on then. Don't keep us in suspense. What is it you're planning?
Right, the first one, it's a 60s and 70s quiz and bingo night. It's going to be on the 25th of October at the Manx Legion Club in Douglas. Cash prizes, hot pot supper. They're £30 a ticket, but that includes, obviously, your entry in. It includes 3 games of cash prize bingo. It also includes your entry into the quiz, of which there's a lovely big bottle of bubbly as a prize for that one. There's a lucky number ticket raffle, so keep your tickets when you're going in. They're all numbered. We have a maximum of 200 tickets to sell, because that's the maximum we can actually get into the Legion. If I could get people sitting on people's knees, I would. Some people might enjoy that. As I say, that's a maximum of 200 that we're looking for.
And how do they get the tickets? How do people actually come along to that one?
We have got tickets on sale already down at the Legion Club. Just pop in and see Linda. Or I have now got some up at Hospice, so if anybody wants to pop in, we will have some on the main reception desk up at the Hospice building itself.
And you say, first of all, so it sounds like you've got multiple events on the go here.
Well, yes, we have. That's, as I say, the 25th of October. Then on the 30th and 31st of October...
Hop Tuné.
We've got the Children's Hop Tuné party. It's going to be on 2 nights. Now, it is going to be limited to 50 tickets or 50 children per night. The adults go free, but the children are £7.50. Now, it's going to include ghoulish games, monster music, fantastic face painting. There's going to be refreshments and a lot more of pin the nose on Ginny the Witch. I'm not quite sure who the witch is going to be, but I'm sure we'll find one. And then, of course, on the 24th of November, we have our annual Christmas fair. Now, this year, it's going to be at the Roundhouse at the Strang at Braddon, which is somewhere we've not been before. So we've got all sorts of different things going on there, from Santa's Grotto to stalls to raffles. And, I mean, as you know, I've been knitting various different items of hedgehogs and Christmas trees and pixie hats and Christmas puddings, and they are all going to be stuffed with a Terry's chocolate orange.
Oh, fantastic.
Now, very, very kindly, Tesco's have given us 100 Terry's chocolate oranges. So there's other ladies that are quilting, that they're making little lavender pockets to put in your drawers in your bedroom. So as I say, we've got all sorts literally going on. But just the last thing that I just want to mention, Christy, is that we've now got our 2025 Isle of Man landscapes calendar on sale. They're all photographs of landscapes around the island that's been taken by local artists. All proceeds, of course, are going to Hospice, and they're priced at £15 each, and they can be obtained up at Hospice.
Fantastic. And for anyone who'd like to come along to the Hop Tunay event, how do they do that? How do they come along to that?
That, again, is ticket only, and those tickets are available from Sarah Falconer at Hospice.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm exhausted listening to that. That's incredible, Viv. We'll come back to you in just a few moments to find out more details on these events. But John Knight, I mean, it must be so rewarding sitting next to Viv and listening to her talking about this with such passion and such enthusiasm, and the energy that your volunteers put into supporting Hospice. I mean, how does that feel?
It's just a real pleasure, and actually it's wrong for me to correct Viv, but when you were chatting to her just before, she said I'm just a volunteer, and of course that is the kind of lowest description from my point of view. All our volunteers, all 430 plus, a massive, very important part of the Hospice. It simply couldn't do all it does without their effort, their time, their skills, their charisma. They are very much the powerhouse of the organisation, so never just a volunteer.
And they do so many different things, don't they?
Absolutely. So, we were talking before about drivers and fundraising support, the reception, the cafe, helping out in the inpatient unit as well with hands-on care with patients as well. So, yes, there's a vast array of volunteering roles to suit all sorts of people. In fact, somebody the other day asked me about a kind of project management volunteering role. Did we have a project that they could sit behind as an experienced project manager? They'd like to bring that to us. So, yeah, it's quite diverse.
And they are crucial to you, aren't they, at the end of the day? Because Hospice, as we know, is a very expensive thing to run, essentially. And so you do rely on volunteers to fill in those gaps, don't you?
Yeah, we did I think it was on LinkedIn the other day, a calculation that the number of volunteers times even the basic minimum wage and the average amount of hours volunteered is north of £800,000 of voluntary effort, if you put it in pounds, shillings and pence, which is kind of a crude measure because that doesn't measure the charisma and the personalities that are just lovely to see in the corridors.
And Viv is absolutely one of those personalities. And we're always trying to raise money. I totally understand that, to cover those costs. And you're having to sort of always innovate, really, aren't you? And come up with new ways of raising money outside of this as well, aren't you? Yes,
I'm sure that the listening public will have seen all the news articles about hospices in the UK having to make people redundant, the pressures of income generation, the NHS in the UK being lobbied very strongly for additional funding. On the island, we're no different. I mean, we receive 1.7 million from Manx Care towards our 6.8 million budget, and we're very grateful for that. It does leave us with a big £5 million target to generate through voluntary income. The shops, we were talking about Hospice Care Week, and the theme this year for Hospice Care Week is retail, and our shops, and proportionately, in knowing hospices in the UK, shop for shop, we are very good at retail on the Isle of Man, and the generosity again of the Manx public. They would generate close to £500,000 a year of profit for the hospice, which clearly towards the £5 million target is a huge contribution.
And it's actually a very simple way, isn't it, for the general public to support you by just giving you items that can then be resold in the shops. That's a really easy way for us to help you.
For sure, and environmentally a very good thing as well, that they're not going, to the municipal dump, and they're being reused again. And it's lovely, actually, going to events when people come up and say, "Oh, I'm fully dressed in hospice shop attire." It's nice. And
it's certainly become more popular, hasn't it? That sort of idea of, like you said, recyclable sustainability, reusing. Well, Hospice Care Week is the 7th to the 13th of October, and I know that there's a sort of encouragement to host a cake bake fundraiser. That's sort of one of the themes with Hospice Care Week. I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the coming weeks. But coming back to you, Viv, again, just listening to John there talking about the volunteers and everything you do for the organisation, it sounds very much like you are part of Hospice as a unit. Sort of sometimes you maybe think volunteers are sort of on the outside of things, but you're very much part of it, aren't you?
You never feel as though you're on the outside of anything. With Hospice, you're part of the team. And it's a pleasure for me to go up there to do my stints and go on the reception desks, whichever one it happens to be. And I absolutely adore every minute of it. And you never, ever feel as though you're on your own. You've got backup, you've got support. If you're not sure of anything, there is 1,000,001 people there to ask, and everyone will help you.
So you would then, I'm guessing, want to encourage other people to maybe think about volunteering?
Absolutely. People have got a misconception of what hospice is all about and what it's like. And I just wish some of them could actually come up to hospice, have a walk round, come into our cafe, have a meal in there, look at our gardens, and it's a happy place. OK, it's got its sad side, obviously, but in the main, everybody's got a smile on their face. It's lovely and bright, it's airy, you can go in the gardens, you can eat, you can just come up and have a chat. It's a brilliant place.
It is. I've been up there many times and I would have to vouch for that. And I know my father, Steve, very much values his time volunteering up at hospice. What do you think would makes for a good volunteer then, John?
Well, very good question. I mean, I think somebody who enjoys the company of other people and is quite outgoing, but equally, I suppose I'd contradict myself because we have people who would help out in the HR, the human resources team, or in the accounting team, and they're very happy doing some sort of fundamental but very important paperwork and other roles. So, but I think for people like Viv, the people who welcome other people to the hospice, that outgoing nature and that can-do attitude and the smile, I mean, they are the front door of the building and the whole service delivery. I don't think I have to say too much because Viv is so good. Just listening to her there at how she describes it. They are everything to the organisation.
They are an asset in every possible way, aren't they? If someone is listening and actually they're thinking, I'd quite like to volunteer for hospice, what should they do? I
think Viv's advice is absolutely spot on. Most people, when they come to the hospice, very quickly see that it is a bright, friendly environment, and there's a big shift in their thinking about what is hospice care. So we're doing a lot in the media to try and reframe how people view hospice. And the breadth of services across the community. So I would say just come and have a cup of coffee. Most people's doors are always open. Have a chat with people, and I would challenge them to think that they don't want to be involved.
Manx Radio's 1 to 3, tended by Ramsey Garden Centre. Open 7 days a week.